Hey everybody, welcome back to Freeze Frame, episode 42, the show where we stop to take a moment to discuss all the heavily talked about news of the week having to do with movies, TV streaming, and pop culture. My name is Ryder, and today I'm joined by the ring-sized checker himself, James Wallman. That was probably the most half-assed description I thought of you.
No, it was funny.
As soon as I started, I was like, oh, I forgot to think of one, and I was like, well, we were talking about rings.
Ring size checker.
I know. I'm sorry.
Hey, show me a DM and I'll check your ring size.
I don't want you to think that I was like, oh, I'm sorry, inconsiderate. I'm sorry.
I bet you're a size 10 on your right index finger.
I'd say no. See, because I did size 10 and it was a little too tight, on me.
Okay.
A little too tight. So I'm going 11 and I'm gonna see what that's about. Maybe 11 and a half. But anyways.
Whoa, big jump.
Yeah, we can get into that after. Anyways,
easy there. Come on,
ladies and gentlemen, we got a big episode today. This is going to be kind of a Marvel centric, kind of a Spider-Man centric episode. We're not going to get too heavy into Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is coming out this next week. So I brought a lot of stuff here for James to kind of break down, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Everybody at home, feel free to let us know down in the comments. Audio listeners, feel free to give us a review. It helps us out. Let us know if you have any social media. We have our social media link down below: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You guys can check us out and connect with us online. Anyways, James, how have you been? What have you been watching lately? What's been going on?
Oh man, I watched 2 episodes of Arcane today.
Oh,
at the Netflix show, the Netflix original, the one about League of Legends.
What do you think of that?
It is so good.
Really,
I mean, IGN gave it a perfect 10, but like it, every time I turn it on, it's incredible. Like it's so pretty. The cell shading sort of art style just kind of really works, but it's very detailed. The characters are so good. The soundtrack is really good, minus the Imagine Dragons opening. But
you didn't like this? You don't like the theme?
No, but it's just so polished.
I got you.
Like there's so much polish and detail. I mean, I heard that the first season took something like 4 to 6 years to make.
Oh, you serious?
4 to 6. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I watched like the first episode and I'm really into it. I like it, but just no time to get to it. But definitely into it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's nice because the episodes are like 40 minutes, not a full hour.
Yeah.
So it's a little easier for me to justify.
That's cool. That's a good one. I want to get into kind of what I've been watching, but it's really from my recommendation, so I'll save it for later.
Oh well, that was my recommendation.
Really?
So
okay. Well, then I'll say mine. Yeah, mine. I've been watching a lot of The Shrink Next Door. I don't know if you heard of that. That's on Apple TVs with Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd. It's interesting. So Will Ferrell is kind of a troubled man, and he's being taken advantage of from his shrink, Paul Rudd, and he's kind of stealing from him in a low key way. But he's also helping him kind of gain confidence. So it's a weird dynamic between them, and it's very serious. Like, I mean, it is comedic, but it's good because Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd are kind of doing more serious roles, and it's interesting. Cool.
Interesting change of pace for the actors.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll get in that more once we our recommendations. But here we go. So our first topics that we want to break down. I got a lot of Spider-Man news here. I got some theories. I got some box office numbers that I want to break down. Well, before that, I also want to say happy holidays. It's getting to
happy holidays.
It's getting to Christmas. It's getting to New Year's. It's getting close there. So happy holidays from Strictly Casual to all your families. Wanted to mention that. But yeah, let's get into it. So Spider-Man No Way Home. First things first. Post-credit scenes. Now, we know Marvel has a tradition for mid-credits and a post-credit scene. Now, based off just initial thoughts, based off, on the whim, off the cuff, do you have any ideas for what a possible mid-credit scene or post-credit scene could be for No Way Home?
I think it would have to introduce sort of like next phase. Because I feel like the multiverse thing has been ramped up to for a while with all the Marvel shows. Either it's got to double down or it really depends on how it's going to end for me, because if they choose to close the book on the multiverse stuff and they do whatever, but they could open it up to more like Skrull Secret Wars sort of things. They could do a little like Galactus action.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, maybe a little like Silver Surfer.
Oh yes.
Or maybe even a little like Fantastic Four reboot part 3 interaction.
That would be sick, yeah, because we don't know who bought Avengers Tower. So people have been talking about maybe it's the Fantastic Four, Maybe they finally reveal that. That's good. I like those ideas. I think based on Twitter. Now I know you're not into the leaks and stuff, and I'm not going to talk about any leaks, but I'm so consumed in some of this stuff that there have already been rumors on what one of the post-credit scene is. And so I would just warn everybody, if you don't want spoilers, don't go around on the internet, because it just like dropped kind of right now. So I kind of have in my head, oh, okay, so yeah, it's kind of in the vein of setting up new phases and, like you said, multiversal stuff. So I'm interested to see. Hopefully we do like a review or talk about our thoughts after. I'd be interested to hear what you think. Okay, so box office numbers now. So basically, Spider-Man No Way Home, the tickets have been on sale for a little bit now, and people have already been talking based off box office analyst has projected No Way Home to open at more than 200 million at the domestic box office, which would be the highest pandemic era opening by a wide margin. Charlie Jatner, a member of Box Office Theory, who has proven himself an astute analyst and predictor of box office data, took to social media to claim the movie has already sold more than 50 million in pre-sales, and to extrapolate from there that the film is likely to open between 200 million and 240, with a possibility to go even higher. So there's a couple things to take into consideration. One, it's a pandemic era, unfortunately. So there are about 49% of people don't want to go back to the theaters yet, and this might be the film, right? So the box office numbers are a little taking a hit from that, as well as there's also rumors that China might not have a release of No Way Home. And China is a huge, it's just one of the second, largest audience for moviegoers. So it's pretty unfortunate that this film. So let me give you a little rundown here. So for the event, the largest opening weekend box office, I have it right here. Largest opening weekend box office of all time, Avengers Endgame at 357 million. Okay. And so they're saying that this movie could be top 3 because the third is Star Wars Episode 7 at 247 million. And so they're saying this could get 250 million. So now I want to ask you, do you think we're seeing more of a range of 90 to 100 or 100 to 200? Where do you think it's on the higher end because of the hype or lower end because of not that many viewers?
I think it's going to be on the higher end for sure. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll do Endgame numbers for sure, but I'm guessing around like 175. That's my low end.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. That's a good take because I don't know. Hearing that 250, that's a lot. That would make it almost the second largest.
What is the biggest box office opening weekend in the pandemic era?
In the pandemic, I believe I want to say Shang-Chi. I want to say, or it might be Dune. I didn't bring up those stats for that, but I think pandemic era is.
Yeah, just to get a frame of reference, I want to see that Shang-Chi number.
Yeah, no, I want to as well.
Because it's a Marvel film. I know it doesn't have nearly as much hype as Spider-Man.
So let's see. It said Black Widow opens to 215 million, Eternals 71 million, Dune is 40 million. Wow. So it seems like Black Widow. Let me see how 140 million. So I mean, yeah. So it seems like Black Widow at 200 million opening weekend, which I'm not surprised. I think a lot of newer characters, they don't have that much draw as someone like Black Widow or Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is the biggest right now, already saying 200 to 240 million.
You know what?
Get on down.
Yeah, if Black Widow did 200, I think Spider-Man can absolutely do 200. In fact, I know it will absolutely do 200 if Black Widow is the reference.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because depending on what they reveal, like if there is any more reveals in TV spots following the release, like with huge spoilers, like they did with Endgame, like they saved Captain America grabbing the hammer and all these big reveals of the time travel after, and it drew in a lot of more people, because a lot of regular movie fans might have not have seen it, even though it had a huge opening weekend box office. Another thing, so do you think this film could possibly pass $1 billion overall, just domestically? Because if there's not a China release, it might be hard to, but
yeah,
because
yes,
I should also preface you with this. Do you think I can count on a number in my hand? How many films do you think have passed $1 billion domestically? I should ask you that.
It says no film domestically to reach $1 billion.
I put that.
It's on the docket.
I put that in there. No film has ever reached domestic. So the highest one is the first Avengers at 623 million. So
I don't think it'll hit that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think it's upwards of maybe like 300-400 million.
Yeah, I'm with you. That seems about like top 10. But yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. Like that's rumors now. I don't think there's any confirmation on if it will, but it's apparently this past year over half of all the films have been restricted in China. So it's pretty
Mm.
sad to see that they might not be able to see this. So we're feeling for those people, but who knows? If they do, then it'll hopefully fund future films. That's the thing about these big superhero films is that when they make huge profits, they're able to fund smaller scale films from other studios and in the parent company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really all. I mean, it's a lot of number talk, but I think it's interesting because I want it to succeed. I want it to do well.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stats for it. Okay, moving on now to the runtime. So the runtime has been confirmed now from Collider and other sources online. Has a runtime of 150 minutes or 2 hours and 30 minutes. So that is full film with credits, which is surprising. I figured it would be longer, and I'm sure a lot of people might be disappointed. What are your thoughts on the runtime? Do you care about that sort of thing?
I do not care that much as long as it feels right.
Hmm. Yeah,
It is
definitely.
the sort of, I mean, comparison that comes to mind for me is when Denis Villeneuve cut down Dune to like almost 3 hours, and it was
Hmm.
supposed to be like the cut before then was like a whole nother hour long.
Yeah,
And I told Vin, I said, "Oh, I want to see the Villeneuve cut. I want to see the director's
yeah,
cut. The 4 hour long Kahuna."
yeah.
And he said, "Oh, well, no, Denny really he wanted this to be the final cut. Like
Hmm.
he didn't make compromises for the final. So as long as it feels like this movie is the director's intended final cut and he didn't have to shave anything off or add on things that he didn't want, I'm cool with it."
Yeah, I'm right there with yeah, true, true. I think for me, I always get caught up in like, oh, I want it to be longer, 3 hours, put everything in there. But like you said, it might not even it might feel long and drag on. So yeah,
Right.
as long as it feels right, I'm right there with you. So this is the longest Tom Holland Spider-Man film. Homecoming was 133 minutes. Far From Home 129. So pretty
Oh,
a
they're
couple.
pretty short.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly, and they feel like a lot. There's a lot in there, and I'm sure this one is only going to feel a lot more meatier, beefier. Another question I wanted to ask you: with all the trailers now that are out that have shown footage of the villains confirmed, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, plus Lizard and Sandman, do you think this film could possibly maybe be putting in too much, or kind of feel a little too crowded already, or do you think this is kind of like a Sinister Six? We want that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's gonna be difficult to do. I think we could run into a little bit of a Spider-Man 3 Sam Raimi situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest fear.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we'll really just have to see. Even a Sinister Six thing can be really hard to flesh out all of the characters. I guess the advantage with some of these characters is you already kind of know them,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't
Yeah.
really have to flesh them out as much as you would a brand new villain. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to see. I'm really interested to see how they employ all these villains and sort of like what do they do for the narrative? What do they do for the purpose of the story?
Mm-hmm.
Does each one have a purpose? Because the truth is, like, even in I think of this might be an ill comparison, but in the Spider-Man game, the
Mm-hmm.
one by Insomniac, they do the Sinister Six,
Mm-hmm.
but not all. But the only villain that really gets a backstory, gets narrative, is Doc Ock,
Yeah.
and so the rest of them are there and they have their
Yeah.
roles and you fight them all, but they don't get the exposition that Doc Ock
Yeah.
does.
They're just boss
So
fights. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right, and so I think this movie could do a similar thing, which I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah, like especially characters like I think Sandman and Lizard are kind of taking the back seat on this based on promotion because I don't know if you saw it. There, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, and Jamie Foxx did like a promotional interview, right? And so
Mhm.
it seemed like yeah, those are the three kind of big ones. But I'm still the actors who played Lizard and Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church and Rice, I forgot his last name, but the original actors, right? They're
Yeah.
returning. So like it's sad that maybe they're just waiting to show them, but I'm excited to see all of them.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
me too.
Okay, so yeah, that's really it. Yeah, box office opening. We'll kind of give a recap on what the box office opening was, as well as what the film is looking like it's gonna make, and talk about Spider-Man because I can go on forever about it. But we'll move on now. That's it, James. Take us away with our main news now.
With pleasure. Now, from Disney and Marvel, Tom Holland says Amy Pascal approached him to be in the Spider-Verse sequel when he was filming No Way Home, but admits that no one followed up with him. They just left him in the dark. All right, cool. Feels bad.
Yeah,
I'd be so upset.
a lot of these do
Go
come
ahead.
from like fandom on Twitter, which come from like Variety or other news headlines. Just so you know the source.
Oh, cool. With the current success of Venom and Spider-Man, Kevin Feige says the obvious question was, how do we start to merge them? Do we call Venom success? Box office,
Listen,
sure, it did some numbers,
yeah,
but
correlation. Yeah, in
I would
comparison.
like I would like some better critic scores.
Mhm.
Um, Kevin Feige teases the potential of more Marvel Netflix characters in the main MCU, saying, quote, whenever a character comes back into the Marvel sandbox, it becomes another tool in the storytelling ability of the MCU. All will be revealed. Daredevil, Daredevil,
Yep.
Daredevil,
I
Daredevil.
was just about to say I forgot to put it in, but Charlie Cox was confirmed now to be the Daredevil in the MCU. I'm
Yep.
sure we're all excited for that. How he'll enter is a mystery, but hopefully soon, because I don't know if you're keeping up with Hawkeye, James. I don't know
I'm
if you
not.
see, no, but there's some hints at a very particular Daredevil villain. I mean, I'll go. It's not
Kingpin?
spoilers. I mean, Kingpin. They're teasing Kingpin up the wazoo for this
Okay, well,
show.
here's it. Kingpin is not exclusive though to Daredevil,
No, yeah, I'm
right?
just
Even
saying
though
that from
that
the
was
show.
it, that was the main
Mhm.
villain of Daredevil, he also is very prominent in Spidey.
It's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
So, Vincent D'Onofrio is looking to return, dude, and they're really teasing it. And I mean, I won't tell you how, but if you
I
ever
think he
check
was
out
a
the
good
show,
Kingpin too.
oh yeah, so good,
Hmm.
such a great
Yep.
actor. So I'll let you know if he pops in, and then it'll just make sense to have Charlie Cox hopefully soon, maybe in Spider-Man. Who knows? Anyways,
That's the best.
next three right here. Kevin Feige says it still varies if Nova, a popular character in the Marvel comics, will debut in a
Ooh,
solo project or pop up in someone else's project like Black Panther did in Civil War. Pretty interesting. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the character. I'll have to look at
I
some
like
comics.
Nova.
Too. Can you kind of give like just broad anything?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
He's sort of like a magical sort of character, but not like
Okay.
sort of sorcery. More,
Mm-hmm.
more sort of he has
Powers.
powers that are sort of like energy projection. So he uses it to like his whole thing is like astral energy. So it's sort of
Oh
like
yeah.
space
Okay.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he uses it basically to just like fly really fast. But he can also like shoot lasers and stuff too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think I remember when I played the Guardians game, they kind of had a little Easter egg for Nova. I think he's like
Oh
with the
no way.
Nova Corps, I believe. He's like the head, like
Yeah.
one of those guys. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
That's cool.
He's
Daniel.
he's prominent among like lower end,
Mhm.
kind of like the B list roster. If you watch the Spider-Man Unlimited show, I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
The one in like 2014, 15,
Mhm.
16-ish. Nova has a pretty big prominence in there.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Thanks for that.
Mhm.
That's a good recommendation. All right. Daniel Cretton, Destin Daniel Cretton inks an exclusive multi-year deal with Marvel Studios to develop Shang-Chi 2 and more Marvel TV projects. Details on this TV project are still under wraps, but my thoughts are 10 Rings, maybe. Last we saw that post-credit scene, the 10 Rings will return. Maybe. I always
Okay.
felt that was a Disney Plus series. It didn't get an announcement at Disney Plus Day like we saw,
Uh-uh.
but I think that's just maybe just like, yo, they're gonna return in the second movie, you know?
Right. Like you'll see them again.
Hmm. Yeah, but what do you think of this? I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole this guy returning?
On the 10 Rings returning?
No,
Or
the director Daniel Cretton. Did you like what he did with
oh,
Shang Chi?
I really liked what he did with Shang-Chi. I thought it was new. I thought it was fresh.
Mhm.
Um, I thought it did a lot of things really well. I want more.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, me too, me too. Let's see, last one. This is a funny one. James Cameron says his failed Spider-Man film was very different from other big screen Spideys. It had a kind of gritty reality to it, he says, more in the vein of Terminator and Aliens.
Huh?
I know, I never knew
What does that mean?
you wanted to do one. Isn't that wild?
I want to see it so bad.
I know, right? Like he said, he was like, there were some other quotes too from him about, yeah, there'd be like, sex scenes and it'd be violent and it'd be mature.
Do you
And
know
I'm
what it
like,
reminds me of when he's talking about? Do you remember that 90s Spider-Man show on MTV that
oh,
was all like CGI? It was all like 90s CGI. Let me look
what?
this up.
No way.
Hold on. Was
Spider.
90s Spider-Man cartoon. Oh God, what was it? No, it's not that one. It's the one.
I'm seeing a lot of images here that I search up, and I'm already feeling uneasy.
What is it? It's the.
I couldn't tell you.
Damn it! It's not this one. Oh my God, maybe it was early 2000s. But hold on, real quick, while I'm searching this up. What is your favorite Spider-Man show?
Let's see, Spider-Man Show. Oh man, you know I haven't seen that too many Spider-Man shows in my life, and I know that's
a damn shame.
I know. I feel like I should. What I have seen is clips of many of the Japanese Spider-Man. I've seen clips of that guy.
Like the original?
Yeah. Because I was interested in it, so I watched like a ton of clips. That's all I know. But I do know there were some very iconic. I know Yuri Lowenthal. Didn't Yuri voice one of the Spider-Mans? Like in the show, or is that just the voice actor for the game?
In the game.
I thought he
but
did. But also,
I wouldn't be surprised for the show as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I looked it up. In Spider-Man, the new animated series, apparently the last season aired in 2017.
Oh, really? Oh, damn.
Wait a second. Why does it say? I'm looking at the episode list, and I'm getting 2013. I'm looking at the episode list, September 12th, 2003, and then it jumps to October 21st, 2017.
Did they do a comeback?
A 14-year gap. I think they did a comeback.
No way. So this is the MTV one, right? I'm looking at one for MTV, and it's looking weird.
No, yeah, this is the same one. It is that one, and I want to watch more of it.
Yeah.
if it got a comeback.
Oh my goodness. God. Well, maybe James Cameron can come back and work on that show.
Maybe
it'd be fitting. No,
it was weirdly mature for like a high schooler. It was so weird.
Interesting. Okay. But yeah, that's weird. That I wonder how many other directors say that. I want to hear every single director, like Quentin Tarantino. I'm sure every director has their own take on anything. And I feel like
I'm sure
Tarantino's Spider-Man.
I would love to hear Quentin Tarantino, or no, like Martin Scorsese,
Oh,
because he's so against the MCU.
What a contradiction!
Listen, you assholes, this is how I would do it.
It's like, I'm gonna make Spider-Man cinema. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yep.
I love it. Okay. Anyways, let's see. I'll do this DC one, and then if you want to take us away to these other studios, you got these. Okay. Cool. Here you go. Just one quick one. The Rock is confident Black Adam will one day fight Superman. He says that's based out of what fans want. Of course, he posts a lot on his Instagram, and so he's always giving us updates on movies he's doing. So, I mean, he didn't say who, which is kind of unfortunate that he didn't just outright say Henry Cavill, but maybe one day we'll see it.
Yeah, I think it's just because that's really up in the air right now. I could be wrong. I don't know what the current status of Superman casting is.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is up in the air.
Black Adam is already far enough in the future, right?
Yeah. It's continuing on. We're way past all that, you know.
Right. All right. Moving on to other studios. Tails voice actor Colleen. Oh, this is wow. Okay. O'Shaughnessy confirms she is returning to voice act the character in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Also, the Avatar sequels have a connected story arc of all 4 movies, which creates an even larger epic saga, teases producer John Landau. And Sully and Neytiri's family is the focus. What will parents go through to protect their family? That's the premise of all 4 movies, apparently.
Yeah.
In other news, Florence Pugh, Rami Malek, and Benny Safdie join the cast of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, with also Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, and Cillian Murphy. This is a pretty big cast.
That's stacked, dude. This movie's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, that's huge. There's a new song. Wait, did we say we were gonna switch off here, or?
Oh, we can get into this. Yeah, I mean, you can read it and then we'll talk about it because I want to hear it.
I'll just keep going through this. New Song 2 trailer featuring Knuckles. Idris Elba failed to make Knuckles not sound sexy in the first Sonic the Hedgehog 2 trailer.
That was which is from The Verge. They made that.
Which is incredible. I am not upset about it whatsoever.
Okay.
When Idris Elba signed on to play a superpowered red,
what is echidna? I don't know what that is.
Echidna. It's an echidna. It's a little
thing.
Well, I thought he's a chinchilla. Is he a chinchilla? Ryder, can you look up what the difference between a chinchilla and an echidna is?
Okay,
I didn't. 2 separate things.
I didn't even know echidna is a thing.
Anyway, so he signed on to play Red Echidna, who is Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The actor was looking to mind for a backstory and identity and find everything that an actor needs in order to create a character and a kind of craft performance, says director Jeff Fowler. He was just so eager to absorb it all and workshop him into the best version of the character, which was awesome. It was great to see how much he cared about getting it right. That comes from Polygon. I'm just really excited to see someone like Idris Elba getting that into the character
Huh.
of Knuckles.
Yeah, I was looking up the images of the actual animal, and yeah, it looks like it's a echidna. I'd say it looks like it. It
Okay.
has the nose and the kind of the hair. The red hair is sticking back on this little creature, little critter.
Fun.
But yeah,
Super
that's
fun.
interesting. Yeah, the trailer dropped at the Game Awards, and I think this trailer, I think it's cool. It's a lot more hype than the first one. I feel like, because it's bringing back more characters. Of course, Dr. Robotnik is back, Jim Carrey, and he has more of an iconic look. He looks great.
Cool.
He's crazy. That guy Jim Carrey is nuts, and
Yeah, he is.
I'm excited to see this movie. I think
It's in Seattle,
oh yeah. Is it
Yeah.
your hometown, right?
my home
Well, not
city,
Se-
baby.
Yeah, home city. Yep. Yeah, that's it really. And then lastly, we have Fantastic Beasts. This is the third film, I believe, for Fantastic Beasts. The Secrets
Yes.
of Dumbledore, not Grindelwald. The Secrets of Dumbledore has a little teaser because they're gonna drop a full trailer, I believe, Monday. And we got a first look at Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald. Now he replaced Johnny Depp, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not into, like, I'm so behind on Harry Potter, but I feel like I dabble in I feel like I
Oh, I
enjoy
am
them.
too.
Have you seen any Fantastic Beasts movies?
I saw the first one.
First one? Okay. Yeah, I think that one was pretty popular because it was kind of like, oh, they're back,
Mhm.
in some vein. All right, I'll take over Netflix, and then you got we'll switch off on HBO and get into
Yep,
there. There's a lot of
sounds
big
good.
ones in there. Here we go. I'm excited for this. Dave Chappelle is going to be doing a Netflix 2022 comedy festival. Well, Netflix is doing a comedy festival, and he's performing at it along with some other very iconic performers. Tons of comedians. It's going to be here in Los Angeles, but it will also be on Netflix as well. There's going to be shows and more venues that we could ever fit on a poster. Netflix is a joke. The festival is taking over LA starting April 28th. Tickets are available Friday at netflixisajoke.com. Pretty exciting. Cowboy Bebop has been canceled, unfortunately, after one season. Now, I know you want to tell your thoughts on it. Why do you think this happened?
It's, you know what? I'm just so tired of like everyone, not everyone. Sorry, this is
Yeah.
about to sound very generalized.
Mhm.
Of studio executives and particularly Netflix thinking that shows that were made to be consumed in animation need live action counterparts to be consumed by a certain audience.
Mhm.
You can't like that's not the way the show was originally intended to be consumed.
Mhm.
It only makes sense that it didn't do well, that because you just can't convey a lot of the same things across in a different format.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of stuff in cartoons, like some anime with action scenes and how a body moves and how they act, that it just looks weird for an actor to do that. It's very cringe, I think. So yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
surprised at this. I don't think it has anything to do with the actors. It's just the material that they were given.
Yeah, it was a lot of people were saying it was just missing a lot of charm that the
Mhm.
original show had.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunate.
not surprised.
Anyways, moving on, we got Chris Hemsworth coming back for Extraction 2. They dropped a little photo on his social media. They're getting ready. That one they're filming. It was like an icy. They were in the snow and they're on a train and it's hauling through and it looked pretty cool. And I'm like, oh man, this movie's gonna be nonstop action. Have you
I
seen?
probably will not watch it.
No, have you seen the
I haven't
first?
seen the
No,
first one.
it was
I'm
alright. Yeah, it's.
I'm just not into those like
Mhm.
army man action movies. Like I can't like I get it, dude.
No, yeah,
You're
yeah.
really cool.
Mhm.
You're shooting up a lot of dudes.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. It is like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I don't get it.
that's it for Netflix.
Moving on to HBO Max. Harry Potter 20th Anniversary Return to Hogwarts gets a teaser streaming January 1st on HBO Max. What is that? Is that a
So they're doing like a kind of like a Friends reunion. A lot of the cast is returning, of course, the main
Okay.
three. So they're kind of doing a reunion special.
is it just like a little like we're gonna sit around and like talk about our experiences?
Yeah, that's
with the
they
movie?
showed a photo. They're sitting down and talking about
Cool.
exactly.
All right, that's fun. Next up, Nick Offerman joins HBO's Last of Us. Comes from Get Fandom Gaming. Murray Bartlett accidentally let the news slip. He was asked about the show, and he said it's co-created. Wait, is this him talking, or is this just a separate
Yes, this
quote?
is him talking. Yes.
It's co-created by Craig Mazin,
Mhm.
who did Chernobyl. The scripts he's written blew my head off. It's an epic show, but beautifully human and intimate. We filmed it in Calgary. A lot of my favorite scenes are with Nick Offerman. Playing off him was awesome. I forgot who he was casted as in
In
this
the
show.
yeah, so Nick, he was casted as Bill's town. So like the
Yeah.
Bill with this whole
Hmm.
town, and originally it was cast from another actor from Chernobyl, but he had to step away from it, so they recasted him as Nick Offerman. And
I love
so
it.
this guy Murray Bartlett, of course, is another actor in the show. We don't know who his character is though, but
Okay.
he's definitely. I mean, he let it slip that he's acting with Nick Offerman. Like, oh, that's what they replaced him with. Okay, but
Yep.
interesting. We've seen a lot of already leaked set photos on Calgary. They're doing university scenes, house scenes. I mean, if you play the game, you recognize, oh man, a lot of these locations are being recreated and it's looking cool.
Very cool.
What's your hype level
I
with this show? Like 1 to 10?
like a 6.
Six. Okay. Okay.
Because
I see.
here's the thing is
Mm-hmm.
because TV shows in general are hard to pull me in because I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather involve experiencing a story directly interacting with the characters
Mm-hmm.
in a game format. Um However, I do very much I like shows, but they're just hard for me to be pulled into.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah.
Um
Cool. Cool.
but that doesn't say that they can't do it well. It's the same thing almost talking about going between animated and live action
Mm-hmm.
um for
Anything
Cowboy
at any
Bebop.
point.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just I hope they maintain what makes it a great experience
Mm-hmm.
in a way because when you're going through the game, you're actively participating. So
Mm-hmm.
what is it going to do to make you feel like you are an active participant in what's going on?
Yeah. True. I like that.
You
Good
know.
point. Good point.
Next up, Colin Farrell will reprise Penguin role in HBO Max's The Batman spin-off show. Colin Farrell has officially signed on to star in and executive produce a series spin-off of The Batman, in which he would again play the Penguin variety, has learned exclusively from sources. Farrell will first portray the villainous character in The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, which is due to be released on March 4th, 2022. The series would then reportedly delve into the Penguin's rise to power in the Gotham criminal underworld. Variety first reported the series was in development back in September, though Farrell was not attached at that time. Lauren LeFranc is attached to write the script for the series, along with Farrell. The Batman director Matt Reeves and the film's producer Dylan Clark would executive produce the Penguin series under their Sixth and Idaho and Dylan Clark production banners, respectively. Warner Bros. Television would produce.
So this is interesting because I had no idea they were doing this, right? Like I know they're doing The Batwoman, which is a film on HBO Max, and they're doing some other spin-offs like audio platforms, I believe, but to see that they're doing finally a Penguin
Wait,
spin-off.
audio platforms?
Yeah, they're doing some like podcasts of like Commissioner Gordon. He's like a detective type
Yeah,
audio podcast, I believe, to kind of connect or like an arm off of the Batman, right?
interesting.
So that's all I've heard about anything from the Batman. So it's interesting to see, where the Penguin will go and how he has his spin-off now with this show and how he's gonna
Mhm.
rise to fame.
I'm really excited for this. I love Penguin in Gotham,
Mhm,
and I really am just really interested in the character
mhm.
because it adds that little bit of mobness to the
Yeah,
Batman, which isn't really centralized on in any of the films normally. So we'll
mhm.
see what Colin Farrell does with that
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
where they go.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Okay, moving on. Now we got one quick one from Amazon Prime. The Boys getting a little spin-off here. It's called finally we get an animated spin-off. It's called Diabolical. This is coming in 2022. It has 8 episodes. This is set within the world of The Boys. Here are some of the writers, which I think is pretty cool. Aquafina, Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Justin Roiland, Andy Samberg, Aisha Tyler, and more.
Ooh, Aisha
Wow,
Tyler.
there's some phenomenal writers there. So I'm interested to see how twisted they make this show, especially in animated form. I'm getting Invincible vibes already.
I know. This made me think of Invincible, and I was like, I want more news on Invincible season 2.
Oh, I know, right? Like I'm kind of like just drop it and don't even tell me anything so I could see the violence occur. But I'm
God,
excited.
it's so good.
Hmm.
I can't wait for Invincible season 2. Probably if that comes out in 2022, like people are speculating, it'll
Hmm.
probably be my most anticipated show of the year.
It's a good one. It's up there for me as well. It's up there for me as well.
It does everything I want my superhero media to do.
I got you. Okay, Paramount Disney Plus. If you want to take us through these, we'll chat about them.
All right, yeah, sure. Paramount Plus Halo got its first actual teaser at the Game Awards last night. We get to see Chief in the suit. We get to see Dr. Halsey, and a few others. We hardly see really anything. Just a few like brief shots of faces.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Environments, but the show is gorgeous. The environments look so good, and the suit looks really good on Chief as well.
Yeah, I was feeling like I couldn't tell the difference between this and the game, because the game is getting so advanced where the CGI cutscenes look like a show, but then the show, since it's CGI, kind of looks like a game. So they blend them really well, and you're like, I don't know what's what. It looks all the same, which is good.
The show's not CGI, is it?
No, I mean like no, it's not CGI, but
you mean like CGI environments?
Yeah, like they're in space. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, it looks like a game, but because it's CGI, but it looks great. And as a game does look great, so they both. So it's like cool. This works. I think
Absolutely. Next up, moving on to Disney Plus. Tamora Morrison was asked whether. Sorry, I probably butchered that name.
No, it was good.
Was asked whether Din Djarin might have a cameo in the Book of Boba Fett, and he smiled and said, "I can't say anything, but we have some wonderful, colorful things to look forward to." That sounds like a lot of fun. What's your hype level for the Book of Boba Fett?
I'm gonna be. It's not that high. Like if Mando was high, this is below it. Cause I don't know the trail. Like I'm excited for the show. Don't get me wrong, but the marketing for it is just not helping its case. You know what I mean? Like the teasers look very no stakes. I feel like there's like I don't know the plot or anything, which kind of be good. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably like a 4.
Yeah,
like 4 out of maybe even a 3.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It a little bit like Star Wars is really starting to feel like a money pump.
Slowly but surely, yeah.
You know,
another thing, I saw another complaint, and I think you can kind of agree with this one. Maybe we'll see. That a lot of the Star Wars and Marvel shows, it seems like they are, let's say, mid-tier content, but over the course of the season, they just build up to a secret reveal, and that's kind of the catch of the show. And it seems like even Book of Boba Fett's now like, are we going to see Luke Skywalker or the Mando? That's kind of going to be now.
That's Disney's whole thing.
And then big reveal.
Disney's
cool.
whole thing right now is just like it's building off of like just giving its audience dopamine from little like reveals and stuff like that.
And don't get me wrong, I'm all in it because like Hawkeye is doing 100% that, but it's a great show, right? In your own way, whether you like it or not. I'm liking it. But it is like every week I'm like, where's the review? I'm just waiting for that dopamine, like you said. But you know,
I don't know. I think it just like it feels like it cheapens media down to just like what's the
biggest thing? Spectacle.
What can you like even like in talking about Eternals. I really enjoyed Eternals, but a lot of people disliked it because it felt disconnected to the universe. And I said I liked that because it wasn't. I mean, we got a really cool reveal at the end of the post-credit scene, like very post-credit scene, but it wasn't reliant on that by any means.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I didn't need that for me to like enjoy the film.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Eternals is one of the only now standalone films introduced. The rest for like the next 3-4 years are all sequels.
Ugh.
Now, wild.
That's a lot.
Yeah, crazy.
Moving on, Amanda Stenberg is in talks to star in Star Wars: The Acolyte. Details on the character Stenberg would play are being kept under tight wraps, but an acolyte in the Star Wars universe has typically referred to a Sith who has just begun their training under an experienced Sith Lord. This, of course, was prior to the Sith Lord Darth Bane instituting the Rule of Two, under which there are only 2 Sith in existence at a time, one master and one apprentice. So this is like, is this High Republic sort of?
This is like old school, baby. Yeah.
This is sick. I'm super down for old Star Wars stuff.
I think when they announced this, the 3 of us all got so excited for it. And this is like as hype as you can get, because I don't know if you know, I'm sure you probably agree, the coolest part of Star Wars is the dark side and the lore of the Sith and where they come from, and the Rule of Two and Master Apprentice, who kills who, and all that stuff is like, oh, so cool. How do they rise to power, and how do they become evil Sith Lords? Which, you know, they're the bad guys that always lose, but it's so cool.
You know, I agree that it's really cool, but also I really enjoy like the clones. I think the clones
Oh
is
yeah.
I don't know why, but the Clone Wars was my
Mhm.
shit when it
Yeah.
was out because I just really enjoyed watching how this group of characters kind of develop their own. It's such an interesting dynamic of like my socialist, not
Mhm.
socialist, sociologist
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
side kicks in and is
Mhm.
like looking at like okay, these are people with like who are literally all identical, but they all have their own sense of individuality within this like whole.
Yeah. 100%.
I just think it's really
No,
interesting,
absolutely. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
and they're
That's
just fun
great.
characters.
Mhm. Yeah, it's phenomenal, dude. This is in the right direction. This is what I want to see. And but
Hmm.
hopefully they're not like, uh-oh, now the big reveal is Darth Plagueis. Like wait.
Right.
I think we finally got our first appearance of Darth Plagueis ever in the history of Star Wars. Was like on like a promotional piece for Star Wars, and it was like a face, and people think, yo, that's Darth Plagueis, but I don't know. Not that that's
Interesting.
important, but anyways. Okay, and that's it for all our major news. We have light news now. We can just do, back and forth, back and forth. This
Let's
is
do
it,
it.
ladies and gentlemen. Starting off, Carrie Skogland replaces Patty Jenkins as director of Gal Gadot's Cleopatra. Patty
Hmm.
Jenkins will now has stepped aside, of course, to focus on Wonder Woman 3 and Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Cool.
Interesting.
Dave Bautista confirms he will star in M. Night Shyamalan's next film, Knock at the Cabin.
Pretty cool. Tom Holland has confirmed that he'll be playing Fred Astaire in an upcoming Sony biopic. That sounds
Hmm.
cool.
Cool. Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, and Will Forte will be voice acting talking. Wait, sorry. Will voice talking dogs in live action CGI hybrid adult comedy Strays. Ferrell plays an abandoned dog who joins Fox's pack of strays to get revenge on his owner, Forte.
Sounds interesting. Well, that's
Very
it.
interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was all our news for today. Lots of exciting stuff to look forward to as we wrap the year off. But before we end, we have our quick recommendations, which we kind of already got into. I'll start off. Shrink Next Door, Apple TV Plus, Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell. I mean, they're great together, so I definitely recommend it. James, it's all you.
My recommendation is Arcane. Comes from Netflix. The only notable voice actor who I really stuck out to me, who I know I haven't looked up, is Yuri Lowenthal. He plays a supporting role,
Mhm.
but it's incredible. All the voice acting is great. The sound is good. The art direction is incredible. Music is. I don't know. I can't say enough good things
Yeah.
about it. I'm 3-4 episodes in, but I
Mhm.
just really enjoy it.
I heard Haley Steinfeld's in it as well, right? Like they keep posting about
Yeah,
her in that
she is.
for Prime. They're like, she's taking over. She has that one, Dickinson, and now Hawkeye. So it's like she has 3 things going on right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, she plays.
One of the
She
main.
plays Vi. Yeah, Violet.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, definitely let us know if you check those out. Let us know in the comments what news headline interests you the most. Again, thank you for listening. For all you audio listeners, let us know what you thought in the reviews. And if you're on YouTube, we have all our social media linked down below if you want to check us out on our Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, as well as Discord to connect with us. We're always chatting in there, talking about movie news and all the latest gaming updates. But yeah, Spider-Man's this next week. So
Woo!
we're excited for
Can't
that. James, thank you for hopping on with me, bro. Appreciate it. And
Always a pleasure.
we'll see you guys next week for episode 43. Bye-bye, everybody.
See you.